somebody is taking over the presentation. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us, everybody. My name is David. If you have called before, you have probably spoken with me. Today, we are presenting one of our Next Stop to Adventure meetings, and today we'll be talking about our upcoming Western Mediterranean trips that
Western
we are offering.
Mediterranean.
That we're offering with Celestial Cruises. To help me today, I have asked our volunteer guide Al, who many of you have probably met. He is a very, very experienced traveler who's been to most countries around the world, and he does escort a lot of our trips as a volunteer. And he's going to help go through the itinerary while I run the technical side of things. So, Al, I'm going to let you take over.
Well, welcome everyone. This is going to be a fun presentation. As many of you know, I've quite a bit traveled, been to 148 countries. I have escorted to more than 100 countries. The ship that we're talking about today, I have sailed on 3 times previously, and many times with Celestial, and very exciting. And right at the top of this, I want to let everybody know this meeting is live. It's a conversation between David and myself and Patty, which I'm going to introduce in a moment. But we are doing this meeting live. And those that are in the meeting can participate in questions at the end of the presentation, etc. But it's principally being done for YouTube and the Travel Club's webpage on this new cruise, and thousands of people will watch it in the coming months. So you're watching this on demand, but this was a live presentation. Right off the bat, I want to introduce Patty. Patty is the director for the Southeast for Celestial Cruise Lines, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And Patty is coming from the ship itself, the ship that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
She's aboard the ship right now in the Eastern Mediterranean, and in fact, just a short while ago, departed from Rhodes in Greece, in the Eastern Mediterranean. Patty, thanks very much for joining us. I wish I was sitting where you're sitting right now. It's I'm in the heat of the villages of Florida, and while it's not terribly hot, I heard you say, Rhodes and the Eastern Mediterranean is a great place to be from.
The weather was just lovely today. And I know that we're not going to be doing roads when we're hitting the Western Med, but just to give you an update, it was just absolutely spectacular. I had an opportunity to walk through the walled city and actually see where Colossus used to be, which, this was something that was actually one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It's not there anymore, the statue. Yes. Right. And then I had a bit of free time to be at the beach, and it was just absolutely lovely, very walkable, lots of great stores, delicious food. But my highlight was actually when I got back on board, I got to participate in the sailaway party, which the guests will have an opportunity to do, and it was so much fun. And then also our fantastic food. We had dinner and also the entertainment as well. So right now it's about 10:05 p.m. here in Rhodes. So again, it's very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And for those of you who have not been to the Eastern Mediterranean, of course the celebrities, Holland princesses, do the Eastern Mediterranean. I have escorted for all of those brands, and in the Eastern Mediterranean, cruising east to Asia, Indian Ocean, etc. I'm a very big fan of Celestial Cruise Lines. It is a small Greek flag. And they are able to do itineraries that cannot be done on the more well-known traditional American brands. And so while Patty is sailing from Rhodes, and by the way, Rhodes is a great place because of its medieval roots of
in Gothic architecture.
Exactly, of the knights that were sailing, were traveling to the
St.
Holy
John,
Land.
yes.
And
Yes.
so Rhodes is great. And also it has a great Acropolis on the other side of the island of the White City.
Absolutely. Acropolis of Lindos, birthplace of Apollo.
Lindos. Exactly.
Yes.
While we're not talking about it today, one other thing that I would say for what Patty is doing on this cruise, the Travel Club has 2 departures next year in the spring and in the fall, and they're 2-week itineraries doing a very comprehensive 10 Greek islands and ports on the itinerary, plus Croatia of Dubrovnik and Montenegro and a little tiny quick taste of Italy. So if you're interested in that, this itinerary that a portion of what Patty is doing right now, the Travel Club has for 2027, which is quite good. We're here today, Patty and I, to talk about a brand new itinerary. Now, as many of you know, the Discovery, Celestial Discovery, was doing the Gulf of Arabia, and I personally was very excited about doing it. I was escorting a group of approximately 50 for the Gulf of Arabia, but of course, as everyone knows, the issues in the Gulf region have disrupted that. We hope for better times. We hope for Celestial to return to the Gulf of Arabia, but for 2027, it will not be happening. Celestial has just recently announced a first time ever for them. It is a small 2-ship Greek flagged cruise line, very intimate and lovely. Their sister ship to the ship we're talking about today was a previous Holland America ship, and this ship of the Discovery is quite great size for what we're doing in 2027 and in 26 and in 27 and in 28. And
can I interrupt you? You're not showing on YouTube.
Okay. Well, we'll have to watch in the Google Meet here, David, unless there's something you want us to do.
I'll be able to upload it later if it's not broadcasting there.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll watch it later in YouTube. All right. So Patricia, welcome, and I think this is a very exciting opportunity for villagers and other people that are watching this and then watching on demand, because you're literally going to be talking to somebody that is sailing on the ship coming out of Greece. So we're really happy that you're with us. Modern technology.
Thank you.
This is not something that could have been done even a few years ago. So it's very exciting. Next slide, David.
Absolutely. It's like magic.
Right. One of the things that we want to begin right away with saying is, if you are participating in one of these special cruise tours, you get to participate in social meetings. We hold them in the villages. It's an opportunity for guests to get together and meet each other, members to meet each other before the trip. And this special cruise program on Celestial will be included. And so for later this year and then in 2027, you'll be able to participate in this social program. I'm doing one tomorrow where the guests for Africa are getting together for our Africa Safari next year. And the trip is a year away, and we're going to have a social tomorrow in the villages where people begin to meet each other. The trip is on waitlist only with 60 guests, and this is an example of how the Travel Club really goes above and beyond for members to experience the destination right from the very beginning. Next slide, David. Of course, as you know, only members can participate in this trip. So if you decide that you want to travel on the trip and you're not a member, it's a very easy process. You can just join during your booking process or in advance, whatever you'd like. Next. Well, let's talk about this specifically. Now, first off, Celestial has never done this before. Being a Greek flag, it has focused on the eastern Mediterranean of Turkey and Greece and the Greek islands, and a little bit into Croatia of the Adriatic and the southern tip of Italy. That's been its specialty. But because of the circumstances of what has gone on in the Middle East and Arabia, the cruise line has spent a lot of time to create a interesting and new dynamic itinerary for a relatively small ship cruising, 1,400 passengers, but doing a unique new itinerary, unlike what the most well-known brands in the U.S. Can do. This ship is able to do a lot of interesting things. There's 12 sailings, 4 distinct itineraries. We have group departures from the Travel Club on all of these. These are escorted cruise tours. Next slide. So next, we're going to look at the Mediterranean, and essentially the moniker of what Celestial Discovery is doing is to cruise Athens all the way to Lisbon. And that is really very unique. So you can see here that it is doing Greece, it is doing Sicily, it is doing Italy, the French Riviera in 2 ports, a heavy emphasis on Spain and Portugal, and then of Northern Africa. Very unique in that you can sail doing this cruise tour almost for a month from Athens all the way to Lisbon. And it includes pre and post tours, completely escorted, all turnkey with all of the transfers, hotel accommodations, and sightseeing included. Next. It begins, let's just talk about the itinerary. And I'm going to bring Patty in here. Patty, tell our members and those that are going to watch on demand, Celestial is not very well known in America compared to, a Celebrity or Royal Caribbean, Holland America Princess brands, Norwegian. Tell us a little bit about Celebrity and its mantra and how it works and how it thinks.
Absolutely, yes. So we are authentically Mediterranean cruise line. We are the experts in this area. So we are just like the destinations you're going to visit. We are also a hidden gem. Okay. And we specialize in the Mediterranean. We also have overnights, and we do spend a lot of time in port. See, the big guys are usually rushing you to get on board, right? We want you to spend time in the destination, and we bring the outside inside as well. So when you're on the ship and you're traveling to your next destination, you'll have that Mediterranean food influence. We have that slant, and we do have regular food as well, right? You can get a hamburger, you can get a steak, you can get mashed potatoes, but we also have moussaka and tzatziki and bacalao, and these just amazing experience. But we are a global cruise line, and the ship that you'll be traveling on, we have placed multi-euro, $1 million euros to actually just spruce it up. It is absolutely fantastic. And because of the size, we're able to travel to these ports. You are going to experience definitely genuine hospitality. We're going to treat you like family with comfort and care. And that's what we strive to do, because we want you to create those memories on board. So you're definitely going to be seeing iconic destinations, but also those hidden gems that other ships can't get to. So it's very unique cruise line and very special. And we don't want to keep it a secret, right? So the bag is out. So this is just going to be a fantastic destination. And like you said, Al, due to geopolitical situation, we were going to the Arabian Gulf. And because we're a small company, we had to kind of pivot quickly. And that's now where we're at. We're doing the Grand Mediterranean on the Discovery, where you're visiting the Western Mediterranean and Iberian Atlantic. So very fantastic.
David, thank you. David sailed and escorted for the travel club on a visit to Egypt, to Ephesus from Athens. The experience of the ship. A lot of people do not realize the second ship that Celestial has is a Holland America ship that Holland America has sold to a celebrity. If you have been on the Statendam Veendam class ship, it is much more intimate. 1,200 to 1,400 passengers generally for Celestial. Just describe the experience on board for us, Patty, of what it's like to be on Celestial.
So on Celestial, you're going to be traveling with 1,360 guests. So just think about that. You're easy embarkation, easy disembarkation. You're not going to see long lines. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. Lots of room, lots of great places. Do you want to just relax, read a book, or also join in and have fun? We have a spa. We have a casino. We offer specialty dining. We have a swimming pool. We have a gym that's open 24 hours. So a lot to cater while you're on board. But remember, every day you're going to wake up in a new destination. When you look at an itinerary, if you're doing our 22 night, you've got only about 1, 2, 3 at sea days. Think about that. The rest are all destinations that you're traveling from Athens to either you're disembarked in Lisbon, Portugal, or Barcelona. And on these itineraries, we also offer overnights. So we're also your floating hotel while you're in Lisbon, Portugal, or Barcelona. So just think about that. So there's a lot of value that we offer. And it's just a fantastic program. I love this vessel. It's almost like once you go on a smaller mid-sized ship, that's what it's considered in the industry. You're just never going to go back to traveling with 3,000, 6,000 guests at all.
Yeah, that's I think a very important note on this itinerary. I've sailed on more than 100 ships, and the Celestial Discovery reminds me very much of what cruising in the 80s and 90s used to be. The ships were not situations like today. You know, a ship clamors to cross 200,000 tons. And there's very good benefit and lots of features of the cruise. But the ships that do that, when we're aware of World America with MSC or the Icon class ships with Royal, this is a different experience. So when Patty is saying this is very itinerary intensive, the issue is the hotel nature of 1,200 to 1,400 passengers on the ship means that it is of a size where it's going to provide all of the needs that you have: multiple restaurants, multiple bars, entertainment show lounge for theater, casino, pool, spa. But it's principally desired to have all of those experiences as your very nice hotel, and you're moving your hotel across the Mediterranean. And then Patty's words resonate very well for me in that it is true. You are going to have longer times in port, and often in several instances, you're going to have an overnight in port. And in some places, like in Barcelona, you're going to have 2 overnights in port. So literally your ship, the Celestial Discovery, works as your hotel while you're visiting the destination that you're wanting to visit. It's impossible. The other thing that it caught my attention immediately when Celestial made this announcement and reached out to the Happening Travel Club, you cannot visit the Mediterranean region of Europe any more efficiently than this. You cannot. So when Patty said to you in a 3-week itinerary, and it becomes almost 4 weeks when you add pre and post tour, like what the Travel Club does, it only has 3 days at sea, which means it's impossible to do a tour. I escort lots of tours. It is impossible to ride a motor coach or fly to the number of ports that this itinerary visits. They are really flexing their muscle of what a small to intermediate ship is capable of doing in the Mediterranean. And that's why this itinerary is so special. Wouldn't you agree with that, Patty?
And yeah, and I want to go back to, the word intensive. That's intensive. I like to say it's more immersive.
Immersive.
That's what it is. It's destination immersive. And because you're traveling on the coast on board our ship, like you said, a floating hotel, you're getting to spend more downtime to relax, to be ready to then wake up in a new destination. Because, we're starting about 8 a.m., 10:30 a.m. So, and then you're going to have a great day. And you don't have to be off the ship all day. You have the option to come back, right? Or relax, or just go out and just walk around. But obviously, I call it your travel soul. Well, that's why we travel, right? Because your travel soul is yearning to see a new part of the world, a new hidden gem, a new destination. And the times that you're going to be traveling, I want you to think about it. Less crowds, less heat. You're going to have great weather and less crowds.
Yeah.
You're really going to be able to enjoy all of these destinations.
Yeah, let's briefly run through the highlights of this itinerary. If you're on the full program, the Travel Club has the emphasis of Athens to Lisbon. You actually are boarding in Athens and you're disembarking in Barcelona. But it's referencing the farthest 2 points in the trip, Athens all the way across Eastern and Western Mediterranean, and including the African North Coast. So let's take a quick look at these ports. Of course, you begin in Athens. The ship is docked in Piraeus, which is Athens port. On the itinerary, you're going to have a pre-stay in Athens, which we'll zero in on in a moment. Of course, the historic ancient roots of the Eastern Mediterranean and Greek society you get to experience in Athens. Next. Then sailing east to Turkey, and Kusadasi is the port. I've been to Kusadasi and to Ephesus. And Ephesus many times. Ephesus is, you can see in this picture in the upper left, Ephesus is literally walking through a living UNESCO World Heritage Museum. But it's a city.
Yes.
It's an outdoor city. The Greek theater that seats. Sorry, go ahead, Patty.
Yes. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I get so passionate about this. It is the most well-preserved ancient city. You are walking into this live museum, and the Library of Celsius, the Grand Theater is there as well. It is just absolutely fantastic to be walking down these streets. And again, it's not just a small ruin where sometimes you're like, oh, this is it? You're thinking it's a pile of rocks. No, you're actually seeing these structures that are still standing today.
Yeah. That picture in the upper left that you're looking at is called the terrace houses. And a portion of Ephesus is actually climate controlled as an inside museum. And these were houses of very wealthy people in the time of Christ. And actually, a lot of people do not realize Ephesus is very important to Christian faith because it is believed to be the final home of the Virgin Mary and Saint Paul had the final church at Ephesus. And so there's lots to see and do here, and a very important portion of the far eastern Mediterranean in Turkey. The next port is feature is to go to Sicily, and the itinerary for the Celestial Discovery, a lovely place of Messina on the northeastern coast. Here in Messina, you have great opportunity. The food is fantastic. It's different than the mainland of Italy. And in addition to the beauty of seeing Messina, you have the ability to get to Taormina, which is one of the most beautiful cities, ancient Greek-influenced cities. And you can also see Mount Etna, which is the most active volcano in Europe. And this is our visit into Sicily. The next is to the mainland of Italy. I like that the itinerary of the Discovery does both Naples, which gives you the ability to visit Pompeii, and of course Positano on the Amalfi Coast, and have the experience of southern Italy. And if you haven't been to Italy, Rome, Florence, and Venice, and the Alps is very different than the south, and so you get that experience in Naples. Anything you want to add?
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the birthplace of the margarita pizza.
Yeah. That's right. Every American goes to Naples, and that's the first thing they want to see. It's not Pompeii. I want to have a pizza in Naples. That's just the way we travel. Next port is, of course, to Rome, and you see ancient Rome and the Vatican. You have their choices there. This is a really great opportunity being with the travel club as an escorted trip, because you're docking in Civitavecchia, which is approximately an hour and 20 minutes from central Rome. And because this is an escorted cruise tour, you will appreciate that in terms of the having the escort, and the ship offers many very interesting excursions. And the two big choices, of course, are the Rome highlights, which include the Colosseum and the Spanish Steps, and of course the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel.
And the Trevi Fountain.
And the Trevi Fountain, that's right. You still throw the coin.
Your wishes.
Yes, to come back. Next port. Now you've had the focus on Sicily, southern Italy, and Rome, and now you're doing the French Riviera. And this ship does two different French Riviera ports on its principal itinerary, the first being Nice. And in the French Riviera, you can go to Monaco. Lovely. The food here is also very different than the experience in Italy. And quite lovely. Monaco is just a stunningly beautiful place, and very close from Nice to Monaco on the French Riviera.
And if you can see beautiful promenades to walk as well.
Yeah.
And this inspired actually Matisse and Chagall.
Yes, that's right.
Their paintings.
Yeah. And next ports features are to Spain, and a lot of emphasis on this itinerary. Barcelona, you're seeing the Familia Sagrada there in the bottom middle picture. This cathedral was under construction for more than 500 years and is basically complete now, very famous because those spires are ceramic. And it is an amazing experience to visit the Familia Sagrada, and also great artists of Catalonia that you see. Barcelona is a great place.
Pablo Picasso as well.
Yeah, Picasso, right? And it is great as a destination for shopping also. And we'll talk more about the itinerary in Barcelona in a moment. Next is then to southern Spain and the famed Costa del Sol. Malaga is the capital. This is Miami Beach for Europe. Costa del Sol is a major beach destination. Many, Marbella, Malaga, many places to see and do. You can see the famed Granada Palace from a short excursion that Celestial will do from Malaga, but quite beautiful in terms of the Costa del Sol. Next, David. Then a bit of a different to Gibraltar. And a lot of people think Gibraltar
Gibraltar, yeah.
Spanish. It is not. It is controlled and territory of the United Kingdom. And here at Gibraltar, this is the gateway where the ancient Greek myth Hercules separated Europe and Africa. And one of the highlights of a short excursion that you can do with Celestial is to visit, of course, the rock, but see the famous Gibraltar apes. And you don't want to have any food, your hat, or your purse handy, because they are infamous thieves. And so it's an experience to see them.
It's Europe's only wild monkeys.
Yeah, the wild monkey. That's a funny phrase. Next, then, on the itinerary is to Africa and 2 port visits in Africa. Of course, the most famous is Casablanca. The shopping and the bazaar at Casablanca is world famous. This is a great opportunity to have specialty dining off of the ship, a great lunch experience in Morocco. And for those of you that are country counters, I'm not one of those. I would never say how many countries I've visited. This is a great opportunity for you, because if it is your first country, you're adding a continent. So you're officially in Africa when you visit Casablanca. Then next is Cadiz. And Cadiz is it's not as famous as many of the other port visits of this itinerary, but it's very important because it's the access gateway to Seville. And Seville is the entire historic area of the city center of Seville, Spain, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Architecturally spectacular. Certainly one of the 20 most beautiful historic architectural cities in the world. And that's the gateway through Cadiz to see Seville.
1100 BC.
Yes, exactly.
Oldest city in Western Europe.
Yeah, and we show you some of the pictures there. Millions of ceramic adornment on buildings and fountains, and it's just a spectacular place to visit. Next. Then to Portugal, and the farthest western point of this itinerary. Lisbon is one of my favorite cities in Europe. And Lisbon is so great because it's so not Spain. It is a completely different empire. For us in Florida, we know the flags of empire: the English, the Spanish, the French, the Dutch, all had at different times some influence on Florida's 500 years in one way or another. Often we forget the Portuguese. And Portugal, its last greatest impact is, of course, in South America with Brazil. But the Portuguese empire of the time of empire of Britain, France, and Spain, and Italy, and the Dutch was very important. And Lisbon is a beautiful, beautiful city. In addition to seeing the historic center of Lisbon, many of the coastal towns are quite spectacular, and Celestial will have short excursions for you to do that. And you also have the very famous, in terms of Christian faith, the Miracle at Fatima, which is north of Lisbon. Another great day trip from your stay in Lisbon.
And Lisbon is older than Rome.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Back to Morocco, to the coast from Lisbon to Tangiers, and Tangiers is farther north. The reason this is possible, and it might seem strange to you that it would separate, is you're sailing from Casablanca to Lisbon from Gibraltar. You've sailed through Gibraltar, and now from Lisbon, you're going to come back into the Mediterranean. Lisbon's on the Atlantic coast, and you're going to come back via crossing between that very narrow passageway between Gibraltar in Europe and Africa. And it gives you the ability to visit Tangiers. And Tangiers, of all of Northern Africa, is the shopping place. This is where best value, best deals, most interesting variety will take place while you're in Tangiers for your port visit.
And this is where you can see 2 continents and 2 seas at once.
Absolutely. In clear day, you can see Europe and Africa in the same. Yeah. Next. To Valencia. Valencia is the second largest city, larger than Barcelona, smaller than Madrid, its capital. Valencia is a beautiful international city. It feels very cosmopolitan, and one of the great things in Valencia is its dining. Many people say this is Chicago. And Chicago foods, different kinds
of Valencia.
Right, exactly. And lots of great food tasting in Valencia, the major metropolitan city, which is fun after much of the history that you've done on this trip. Then continuing.
And the cathedral claims the actual Holy Grail.
Yeah.
In Valencia.
Yeah. Next is Mallorca. Mallorca is an island, very famous. Spain has a number of very famous islands that are resort destinations. Spain's islands are like the Caribbean for the United States and Florida. And Mallorca is one of the most, if not arguably the most famous of the islands. So Celestial, including Mallorca, is a really great choice because it gives you that Caribbean feel experience for Europe, because that's what the Iberian Islands are for Europe. Then next. This is an interesting one to me. I have been to Sète, but it caught me by surprise that the ship was visiting. Many people consider this the Venice of France. Many canals, waterways. It's beautiful. You love France anyway. The French are the French. Even if they're grumpy, you still love the French. And we love the French not only because of their history and their culture, but because of their food, and especially in pastry arts and the final course of a meal. The French are just so amazing at it. And this caught me by surprise because it's a second French Riviera port that the Celestial Discovery is doing, and they're able to do it because the ship's size. You can't bring and you would not want to bring a 6,000 passenger ship into Sète. You would have to dock very far.
Absolutely not.
Very, very far to get into what you want to see in Sète. So this is a great example of how the Celestial Discovery is a unique opportunity to sail, because very few cruise passengers say that I went to this port in France, which is quite, in and of itself, completely different than that of the heart of the French Riviera and Monaco. So lovely stay. I love this choice that they've included this. Next. Of course, on many of the itineraries, you can get to Madrid. Madrid is done as a pre or a post tour. If you start in Barcelona or end in Barcelona, I recommend this to you. Madrid is completely different than Catalonia, and Barcelona is an easy journey of 3 to 4 hours between Barcelona and Madrid. And then the Travel Club has a 3-night stay in many of their tours, including comprehensive sightseeing. And Madrid is so important to us for Florida. because you learn so much about Spain and their conquest and exploration of Florida. Hernando de Soto and the Fountain of Youth and St. Augustine in Fort, etc. All of that is based and documented in its history in Madrid. So it's a great visit for Floridians to do pre or post. And the Travel Club does a lot of that in many of these itineraries. Next.
And let's not forget about the food and the energy that you will experience in Madrid. There's no city like this in the world. And you have to go and you will see why.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Now you see here there are 4 itineraries. One of the things that's very interesting that Celestial does, and the other cruise line that does it is MSC, and a little bit to a lesser extent Costa. But the 3 European brands, MSC, Costa, that significantly cater to American guests, and then Celestial, they multi-port. And so multi-porting is not something that we see a lot here in the Western Hemisphere by the very well-known brands that are present here in Florida. Because the European companies think about the movement of Europeans from one port to another, you can find that some passengers are boarding in this port, some passengers are boarding in this port, other passengers are boarding in this port. And so as a result, many of these itineraries are the same itinerary, but it's a question of the length of what you want to do on the itinerary. Very clever of the Europeans to do it this way, and very advantageous to you in terms of what kind of experiences and where you want to go. And I'm going to show you how that is done here. Next. So the top recommendation for me, having done all of these ports, having cruised more than 100 ships, I will just tell you first and foremost that this is the choice. In my opinion, if you have the time to do it, and the vast majority of Travel Club members do have the time to do it, this is the choice. This itinerary of doing basically Athens to Lisbon, the entire Mediterranean, there is no cruise that I've ever seen like this before. Full stop.
Thank you. That is correct. 100%.
Never seen it done before. Amazing. It is simply an amazing choice. First off, a 5,000 or 6,000 passenger ship can't do this. They can't move at the speed that they would need to move with the philosophy of the shorter port time and being in port. You couldn't do it. And that's why it's not done. You don't see this at NCL. You don't see it at Celebrity. You don't see it at Holland. And they do a great job in the Med. But this is, as Patty said, this is an immersion experience. And the best way to do the immersion is to do it all, in my opinion. 2 departures, November 23rd of this year, if you want still to plan this year, or plan next year, November 15th to the December 12th of 2027. After the big discount on the trip, the 28 days is $1949. Oh my goodness, what tremendous value.
Incredible.
For the cruise. Exactly. It includes all of your government taxes and fees. And one of the things that I would point out on all of the pricing we look at today, of course, we all know this because we're all experienced cruisers. That's for an inside cabin. For the cruise, this cruise and the others from the Travel Club, outside cabins are available, balconies are available, suites are available. They're all supplemental charges. And the individual pages for this trip will show you that for all of the individual categories. But the start rate is all inclusive. And by the way, when we talk about all inclusive at the Happening Travel Club, the Happening Travel Club has put this together. It becomes a dream for me as an escort because everything's included. If you're arriving in Athens, you have your stay in Athens with all of your transfers, meet you at the airport, Your hotel accommodations are included. Your breakfast is included every day. Sightseeing in Athens is included. And that is true for Barcelona. That is true for Madrid. That is true for other itinerary components. It's all inclusive of the government taxes and fees and everything that you need to be able to do the trip. So this is the first trip.
Yes.
Next slide. So just to show you what this itinerary does. So you're flying overnight on day one. You saw the departure dates. Those are the departure dates of the trip. Day one is an overnight flight. On this Grand Med experience of 28 days, you're in Athens for 3 days. In Athens, you're met at the airport. Airfare is not included. And I always recommend to guests, don't let anyone handle your airfare. Don't let Happening Travel Club do it. Don't let Celestial Cruise Lines do it. Don't let Globus Gateway Tours do it. Don't let anybody handle your air. That's just my personal opinion. You want to be in charge of your air because especially in times of an event, connection issues, things that happen, you don't want to be dealing with a third party that has handled your air. You want to be working directly with your air carrier. So the travel club, for that reason, doesn't plan the air to or from Europe. But they do plan everything else. So when you arrive, regardless of your arrival time, your transfer is included in Athens, regardless of when you arrive to your 4-star hotel. And then you'll be there for 3 nights. Breakfast is included. Sightseeing in Athens is included. And then on day 5, it includes your transfer from your hotel to Piraeus to board the ship. And you'll board Celestial Discovery. Then this shows you the itinerary to Turkey. There's the day at sea, then to Sicily, to Naples, to Rome, to Nice, then to Barcelona. And that jumps off the page at you. Day 12, 13, and 14, the Celestial Discovery is going to work like a luxury hotel in Barcelona. You're docked. And then you can come and go as you please. Your meals are included on the ship. The entertainment program continues. Of course, you have your bedroom accommodations aboard the ship, but essentially you get to experience Catalonia in 3 days. That is so unheard of in this class of ship. You see it in luxury brands at Seabourn and Azamara. You do not see this in the middle premium market that Celestial is. I very much appreciate, and I assure you, and I want to pull you back in a moment, Patty. One of the things, if I were on this cruise, I would be doing is I'm not having dinner on day 12 and day 13 in Barcelona on the ship. I'm finding great, interesting, unique places. I can have dinner. I can go out and start with drinks. I can have dinner and I can go to entertainment or show or late night shopping or walk a promenade at midnight. You can't do that on a cruise. You can do that on Celestial Discovery on this itinerary. Quite amazing. I'm sorry, Patty, I kind of interrupted.
No. This is fantastic. Number one, this price is phenomenal for everything that this travel club is offering. This cannot be beat. And I wanted to just add, while you're on board your inclusions, you have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner from the main dining room and the buffet. Also snacks included from pizza oven in the Greek deli. So you're going to have food throughout the day. You're also going to have filtered water, coffee, tea, and juice stations. And something that's really neat, on the floors, you don't have to go to any of the public spaces to get either sparkling water or flat water. We have the machines on your deck. You could come out with your water bottle and refill it, which I think is fantastic. So you're going to have your hydration, you're going to have your food, you're going to have your snacks, you're going to have your entertainment. And 250 megabytes per day of Wi-Fi. That's included. And your gratuities as well. Right. And also free pour sodas with your meals. All that is included. So that's considered, again, premium casual is what we're all about. Right. Premium in our offerings, premium in how you're traveling, premium in your destination, and casual because we want you to relax and have a vacation. Right. And travel and be in that region.
You see on day 12, 13, and 14 in Barcelona, so you're arriving in Barcelona and overnighting, and then you're in Barcelona all day and overnighting, and then on day 14, you're in Barcelona all day. So really a unique feature on the itinerary. Day 15 has a second day at sea. And just as Patty pointed out to us, see the itinerary from Athens all the way to Barcelona, 3 days at sea. Now, I love days at sea. I love transatlantic cruises. I love the relaxed nature. I like it in terms of a way to get to Europe or to come back from Europe to the United States, but that's not this. This itinerary is immersive in the ports, and that's why this itinerary is so great. Only 3 sea days. I love sea days, but I'm thrilled that this has so few sea days because there's so much to see. Day 16 goes to southern Spain, the Costa del Sol in southern Spain and Malaga, to Gibraltar, then to Africa, to Casablanca, crosses through, now you're in the Atlantic, is going to Cadiz and visiting Seville, the Atlantic ports, Lisbon. Now, they don't make such a big deal of it, but notice there, another opportunity, day 20 and 21 is in Lisbon, overnighting on the ship.
Overnight.
And you have 2 days there. Another day where, when I'm on this itinerary, I can assure you, you will not see me in the restaurant on day 20 aboard the Celestial Discovery because there's too much to enjoy in Lisbon, which I can't do on comparable cruise lines. I've been to Lisbon many times on a cruise ship, but you're not there in the evening. And that is a wonderful feature. On day 22.
These destinations are a food and wine paradise as well.
I know. I keep seeming to talk about food, and I'm surprised I haven't talked about red wine because normally I talk people's ear off about red wine because I consume so much of it. Now we head back in past Gibraltar between the narrow isthmus between Europe and Africa, and the stop in Tangier. And as Patty indicated, while you're in port there, you'll be able to see Africa and Europe in the same view. A third day at sea, the final full day at sea, and then to Valencia in Spain, the metropolitan. It's Chicago of Spain. Then to the Iberian Islands, the Caribbean of the Mediterranean for Spain, and to Mallorca. Then to the French Riviera of France and to Cité. And then the itinerary finishes in Barcelona. Now, in Barcelona, we bring you off the ship. The travel club could, first off, how this ship thinks. You come off the ship at 9:30 in the morning, right? Everyone, all of the experienced cruisers that are in this meeting or are watching this later on demand, they know, wait, that's not possible because the ship is going to dock at 4 o'clock in the morning so you can get off at 6. Why do you have to get off at 6? Because you're flying home. This ship's not thinking that way. This ship is thinking, wait, the Europeans don't think that way. So we're running at 9:30 in the morning. That's when you're going to get off the ship. And we go, great, that's fine. Because what we do is, this is not a chaotic rush off the ship because you're not going to fly home this day. We're not even going to try to get you to the airport in any timely manner. You don't have to worry about that at all. This is inclusive. So on the escorted basis, you'll transfer off the ship. You have another night accommodation of hotel accommodation in Barcelona, which is different than what you did on the ship. And then on day 28, you'll have breakfast and transfer based on whenever you set up your flights. And so you'll have no pressure in getting off the ship and your flight back to the United States. It ends the trip in a very, very lovely way. 28 days. This is trip 1. Now, I'm going to spend less time because there's different versions of this trip. So Best of Spain, Portugal, and Africa show you these departures in 26. You can do it for Christmas next year, and you're actually in Europe for Christmas, or you can plan ahead and do it in February of 2028. Again, the 20 days, great value price. After the members discount, it's $1,569, including all of your taxes and fees. $79 a day for an inside cabin. Outside and balconies and suites are upgrades, but this itinerary is quite amazing. Again, I know a lot of people trust recommendations that I give. One of the things that I continue again to remind you of over the course between now and the middle winter of 28 is this itinerary is so unique. There's nobody doing something like this, so that's why I encourage you, make sure you look very, very closely at this because the itinerary is so unique. Next. On trip 2, again, this itinerary starts in Madrid. So you fly into Madrid, 4 days and 3 nights. For me, always, I encourage tour companies that I escort for to do at least 2 nights. Always try, unless it's an administrative overnight, try to do 2 nights. When you do 3 nights, you're hitting the sweet spot. So this itinerary is leisurely right from the beginning. In addition, of course, to the cruise, but it's leisurely on the ground in Madrid. So it stays 3 nights, breakfast every morning, 4-star hotel, Madrid sightseeing, and your transfer on day 5 from Madrid to the ship. When you arrive in Barcelona, you arrive in the ship, and your ship acts as your hotel in Barcelona. So you'll be overnighting in Barcelona on the ship. And then through the itinerary again, Malaga, Gibraltar, Casablanca, Seville, the overnight in Lisbon, Tangiers in Africa, Valencia, Mallorca, and back to Barcelona. And then the same, the one-night hotel accommodation in Barcelona as to reposition for your flight. So you've already had adequate time in Barcelona. You get one final additional taste staying in a hotel in Barcelona before positioning for your flight. Next. Trip 3 is Celestial Discoveries Mediterranean Athens to Madrid, or Madrid to Athens. Now, this itinerary is also interesting because it connects the Mediterranean with the 2 great capital cities in Spain of Madrid and in Greece of Athens. And you're sailing. And again, you do not see an itinerary like this. 16 days, tremendous value at $13.99, including your government taxes and fees. And this itinerary sails in one direction, either from Athens to Madrid or from Madrid to Athens. And the Madrid to Athens itinerary I focus in, you have, if you would like, you can do New Year's Eve in Europe on this itinerary.
And they make the ship beautiful. It is a big celebration with the decorations, and you really feel that fantastic holiday spirit. It's just absolutely divine.
I'm loving the Travel Club maps, by the way. They're really great. They're great maps for this cruise. Next slide. On that itinerary, it shows you Athens to Madrid or Madrid to Athens. I know I'm kind of now going a little quicker through this, but remember, this will be on demand and you can pause the presentation at any point where you can look at these individual slides longer. And they're the identical itineraries, just the direction. In one instance, you would have 3 nights in Athens and 3 nights in Madrid at the end of the trip. or 3 nights in Madrid and 3 nights in Athens at the end of the trip. So it's very great itinerary combining this lovely celestial discovery cruise. Next slide. Then day 4, the fourth choice is called Celestial Discovery African, Spain, and Lisbon. 3 departures, 26, 27, and 28 you can plan for. This is 15 days for $1,299 after the discount, including all your government taxes and fees. And this itinerary focuses on Africa, Spain, and Portugal. Basically, the Iberian Peninsula and the Mediterranean is what it's focusing on. Next slide. In this itinerary, then, you overnight, you do the 3 nights in Madrid. You're transferred from Madrid to the ship. You have the overnight on the ship, acting as your hotel in Barcelona, then to Malaga, Gibraltar, Casablanca, Cadiz, and it finishes in Lisbon. And then when you arrive in Lisbon, you disembark, doing 4 days and 3 nights in Lisbon, deluxe 4-star hotel, breakfast every morning, Lisbon sightseeing, and then on day 15, your transfer is included to the airport. $1,299. It's really quite incredible. Next. So we've told you about a little bit about the Discovery. There's a picture of the ship. A lot of people, again, I make note, it is easy for us to go, it's not. That would not be correct. This ship is a great choice for this itinerary. If you haven't been on a ship of this size in a long time, this is a great, I call it a platform. It's a great platform of a ship for this itinerary. It is not meant to be the Icon out of Port Canaveral. When you sail on an Icon class ship out of Port Canaveral, it's going to Nassau and their private island and to Puerto Plata. You know, the ports are the ports. They're not this Mediterranean itinerary. And you know, this gives you a great alternative of the kind of ship that you want to experience it on. One of the things that's interesting is I was with David when he did that cruise with Celestial. David, if you remember when we were at Piraeus, which was the boarding and disembarking port, kind of give us a feel of what getting on and off the ship was like for you.
So the only difficulties I had were because I had a group of 47 people and corralling them. Getting on and off the ship was very quick and easy. You know, they verified your photo and your room key, and you walked off, and it was never more than a couple minutes. Even if I was down there before they dropped the gangplank, because I had to organize people, I never had more than a couple minutes to get off the ship or get back on. It was very, very quick and easy. Much quicker and easier than on larger ships that I've been on. And I really enjoy this ship because of the size. Location on the ship isn't as big of a deal on this because everything's close. You don't have a far distance to walk. You don't have to go up seven decks to get to anything. You don't have to walk a quarter of a mile to get to an elevator to get to one end of the ship or the other. It's got all the bells and whistles and the features of a full-size cruise ship because it is one, but it's not one of the cities at sea. And I really appreciate that because it was comfortable. There were plenty of spaces where I could go if I wanted to be around a lot of people, and spaces I could go if I didn't. You know, they've got multiple bar areas and sitting areas, and you know, they've got the dance club if you like to dance, and the food was fantastic. I really enjoyed the size of the ship because even with all the people, it never felt crowded because there's a good balance between public spaces and number of rooms. So it's not a busy, crowded ship ever, even when it's full. You never got that feeling of being caught in a throng. And I used to work at the Disney theme parks. I know a crowd when I see one. There was nothing like that ever in my experiences on the ship.
You know, one of the things that I'm in trying to help members look at this and other itineraries to make kinds of choices that they want. I'm going to use a word that's not appropriate, but I think everybody will understand. When you take an expedition cruise, you know that you're with a ship that is designed to be able to bring you to the destination better. This cruise, it's unimaginable to go the Mediterranean as expedition cruising, because it's not. It's mainstream cruising. But with the number of ports and how much time you're spending in ports, this itinerary is expedition-like cruising. And so what that means is you decide the Celestial Discovery, the cabins are good, the restaurants are good, the pool, the entertainment is good. It's different than the Celebrity Silhouette. It's different than the Grand Princess. And the only reason I explain it that way is both are great for different reasons. The Celebrity Silhouette can't do an itinerary like this. So as a result, you're making the decision, I want to do this because the ship is 12 to 1,400 passengers and it's able to do these kind of things on the cruise. So both are good. I don't want to lead any of you astray in terms of what I'm describing. I have been on Celebrity many, many times. It's my favorite cruise line. I have been on Celestial many, many times. They are both great for completely different reasons. And that's what I want to try to make sure that I help members understand. If your expectation is you want that celebrity experience, perhaps this cruise is not the best choice for you. If you want this size vessel with this kind of port itinerary in an escorted fashion from the travel club, it's a fantastic choice for you. And you can also plan now for 27 and 28. So that's basically what I want to say about this Celestial Discovery. Next slide, David. Quick notes, as I said, 1,200 plus guests. I constantly refer to it as 12 to 1,400, depending on the capacities, thirds and fourths, etc. 400 cruise members, 600 cabins on the ship. This ship does not have a huge number of balconies. There are many more inside and outside cabins, so I draw that to your attention. If a balcony is very important, you must look at that earlier rather than later because of the number. Next slide. As I've indicated, I don't think we have to spend any time on this. The size is the magic of this cruise. No question. Next. Varied dining. Somebody asked me just this week. I was escorting a trip for the travel club over to Dr. Phillips for Derek Huff's Dancing with the Stars, and somebody asked me about this itinerary, and they asked me, "Well, does the ship have a restaurant?" And the impression, I laughed and I loved it. I love travel. I love people that travel and their learning ability. Their thinking was, because of the value nature of the food, it was like fair. And right. I know Fred would get that joke. And they're thinking it's like a ferry and that you're going to be cruising on a ferry. You're not cruising on a ferry. That's not the experience. It's a really nice experience, but it's a surprise for Americans because you're looking at an itinerary that's, $75 a day for inside cabins, and you're going, oh, that must be a ferry. No, that's not true. But that's what it is.
A note on the food. I loved the food on the ship. I love Mediterranean food.
Fantastic.
When we were in Athens, I walked almost everywhere when we weren't doing tours. If you do the Athens part, the 4-star hotel is about 1.5 miles from the Acropolis and the Plaka, and I would walk it and frequently stop at little sidewalk cafes just in the town. And I love authentic Greek and Mediterranean food, and the food did not disappoint. It was very good. It was, they had your standard fare, as Patty said. They had, steaks, burgers, things like that. But it was excellent food, especially for the price of the cruise. I have goosebumps right now thinking of it. And I love food.
You will not go hungry.
Yeah,
you will not go hungry at all. It is delicious. It is fantastic service. I'm having a great time. I don't want to go back. I'm going to beg my boss if I could stay another week.
Well, and Patty, you're
I
in
wash
South Florida,
dishes on board.
right? You're in
Yeah,
South
I
Florida.
live
All
in
right. So
South
David's
Florida.
in
Yes,
South Florida.
absolutely.
I'm from South Florida.
Yes.
We now know why you want to stay on the ship.
I know. This
Right.
is great. I don't
Right.
want to leave.
Right.
And by the way, I'm here for a meeting, so they have us in meetings all day. But my vice president of North American sales, which is John Diorio, he wants us to actually experience, free time on the ship and in the destination. That's what we're
right.
really
That's right.
here for.
That's
And like I said, I have worked with the Royal Caribbean Group for 11 years, loved it, worked many other cruise lines and hotels, and I love this product. It's unique. The itineraries we have, there's nothing like that out there. And once you go and you travel on a mid-sized ship, such as a Discovery, which is 1,360 guests, you will not go back to large vessel cruising.
Right.
You feel the difference.
Right.
And I do just want to point out for experienced cruisers, you may recognize the name John Diorio because he has worked with some of the big cruise lines, and he just moved to Celestial a year and a half, 2 years ago.
A year.
Yeah,
He's
so
supposed to
they
do
have
a year.
a lot of big experienced cruise people who are running this. It's not like a little budget company. They just are a great family-owned company with a great product. Right. Yes, Patty. We'll have time to answer questions. We're almost done.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next slide. So you're seeing the lounge, entertainment, production shows. One of the reasons that I cheer for Celestial and say, just like what Celebrity does and what Holland America and Princess does in their lanes, Royal Caribbean does in their lanes, I cheer for Celestial. My first experience, they are itinerary driven. My first experience with Celestial was not in Europe. It was in Cuba. And Celestial brought a ship to Cuba and did a circumnavigation of Cuba, which I sailed on. And I realized from my first experience with Celestial that they're really immersive decision makers. They want to make sure that you have the experience in the destination. They had about 150 Cubans work the cruise. When it ended and it became more difficult for Cuba, more than 100 Cubans were given permission to stay on the ship and return back to Greece. So always has earned my loyalty to Celestial for what they did. Next. Again, similar pictures, the spa, the pool for the hotel. Next. We've talked about the overnight nature, very unique. Those overnights in Lisbon and Barcelona are just breathtaking. Next. This is interesting here because I have already been asked by a lot of members about this. I'm in the Villages. I know many of us participating or watching this on demand are going to be in the Villages. This is very similar to the Villages in the winter. In December, January, and February, the Mediterranean is mild. This is what you'll see in average temperature in December, 66 in Casablanca. The coolest is to Rome, which would be 57 degrees. So this is not, this is just me. This is my personal observation. I don't want to be in Rome in August. I just don't want to be. I don't want to be in Athens in August. Patty is on this cruise, and I'm glad that she's enjoying Rhodes, but it's not a place that I would necessarily want to be in August because there are other places that are easier on the climate. Conversely, because of the warm nature of the Mediterranean, Floridians and older travelers may think that this is a destination you can't do, and that's not true. The peak of Florida is December, January, February for cruising in Florida. It's the exact same thing in the Mediterranean. It's peak time, but we're not necessarily as understanding of knowing about the Mediterranean and what it's like. So this slide is only here to show you what you're going to experience in temperature. There's no snow coming. There's no ice coming. You don't go to Casablanca and see freezing weather. It doesn't happen. And it can happen even here in the villages, but you're not going to see that on this itinerary. Next slide. Hotel stays, heart of the city, 3 days, 2 nights aboard the ship. The ship works like a luxury hotel in both of those locations. Next slide. So you can see here, very comprehensive across the entire Mediterranean. I'm sure everybody is getting that. You're seeing the ports for each of the locations you're going to. The combination to be able to see all of this is just incredible. It is really just incredible. Next. Easy to make your reservations. The reservation for the cruise is $799. As everyone knows, if you're a member of the Travel Club, you already know this. 100% of reservations are done online. If you put your phone on photo and put it over that QR code, it'll take you right to the landing page for the trip, or you could go to happening.travel, all trips, and then just select Europe. And these different versions of the 4 versions of the Celestial Discovery will come up, and you can see all of the details. And by the way, I highly recommend you doing that. Don't while we hopefully have given you a lot of interesting information about the trip, there is much, much more in the details, day by days, all of the descriptions, etc. And you can do that by going to the individual trip pages at happening.travel, and I can encourage you to do that. Next slide. Just a quick note about online meetings like this. Next up, August 19th, we're doing one on Reykjavik and the Northern Lights in Iceland. One coming up for China and Hong Kong, and watch for these. The Travel Club is doing this, and they're committed to bringing people all over the world into these online meetings, exactly like what Patty is doing. Patty is sailing from Rhodes, Greece, aboard the Celestial Discovery, talking about the Celestial Discovery in this new itinerary, right? Where do you have the opportunity to be able to experience something like that? And in that vein, Patty, anything you want to close before we see if we have any questions? Anything you want to add?
I just know that you're going to have a lovely experience. This Travel Club has thought everything out for you. You cannot beat the value and the experience and the stories you're going to have when you get back, and creating those memories. It's just, you cannot beat these destinations. This is the way to go. Travel in comfort. Like I said, I've worked for other cruise lines, big major ones, larger ship vessels, and I just don't feel a need to go back, because I want to travel in comfort, be taken care of, enjoy good food at a very great price, and most of all, just immerse myself in the destination. I was trying to walk around the vessel, but it was getting a little bit noisy because of the public spaces had this beautiful Greek music, and also on another level had another type of music. So there was just a lot happening. So it was a little bit too noisy. It was just absolutely so much fun.
And she's saying noisy for the meeting, not too noisy to enjoy.
Yeah, no, it's not too noisy to enjoy. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Patty,
So there's
Patty,
lots of entertainment.
Yeah. I'm looking at your picture as we're explaining to everybody. Patty is on the Mediterranean cruising as we speak from Rhodes, Greece, aboard the Celestial Discovery. The picture behind you, where are you sitting?
I am sitting in the reception. So let me turn my camera around.
That is so.
So this is
I have never. The reason I'm fascinated by this is right there's the reception desk. I've never been involved in a meeting where I'm talking to somebody in presentation to guests that are participating with the person on the ship live as we're doing this. Is just absolutely
I might go mute, but let me take you real quick. So very easy to navigate through the vessel, okay? So deck 4, 5, 6 cabins, but then we've got more cabins on 7, Ocean Bar, but then we go into our main restaurant, which is Thalassa, the shops, and then our specialty restaurant on deck 8. Then deck 9 is Taverna, the buffet, the pizza oven, that's included, and then Cafe Nation, Martini Bar and Lounge, and we're going to go up there. And then we've got the disco as well. So I might go on mute. So Al, do you mind taking over? How does that sound? If you like,
no problem at all.
Okay, because it's getting a little loud.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have a question. Are you going to talk about single occupancy?
So single occupancy is generally 200%. We would re-verify that rate with you if you want to book. You would fill out the booking form. We would verify the rates and let you know before we would take the deposit, just to make sure it was good for you.
Okay, thank you.
And in general, I always comment on singles. One of the most difficult things in the travel industry is singles related to a cruise. And the reason is in general, cruise lines make a revenue decision that 2 people in a cabin spend more money on the ship than 1 person in the cabin. And that's why they no longer really do single programs or single share programs, because it was very tough for them to administer and people be happy with roommates that they assigned them to, etc. My number 1 recommendation for singles for this trip and anything that has to do with a cruise is the travel club has had some great success of matching people up, coming to meetings, etc., saying I'm a single and I would like to meet people that are interested in traveling and finding companions to travel single. I know it sounds very kind of old-fashioned, but it really is beneficial. If you can find a friend or a couple of friends that is willing to travel and have those experiments, it's so good for singles to be able to do that. I have been asked to speak at many of the singles organizations here in the villages, and I say that I did one for a singles travel club here, and there was 100 or 150 people in the room, and I talked about travel, and I was just trying to be helpful in terms of what was going on in the world. And I made this observation, and at the end of the meeting, nobody stays to intermingle, to meet each other, to the possibility of doing that. So for singles, you have to work over and above the call of duty to meet people and let them know you're interested in travel and you want to meet people for that goal. And there are other people that are in that exact same situation. And I know that that's true because I hear it all of the time. And my heart goes out to it because we want to try to help single travelers be able to travel more. And so that's always my comment about singles.
Hey, Al, this is Fred.
Hey, Fred.
How you doing? Hey, we're going to sign up for this trip for the 28 days in November in 2027.
Right.
But I have a question. I'm online now. I'm on your site. You do not have the post trip to Madrid on the site yet, and we want to do that. When are you going to add that to the site?
That would be a David question.
Okay, David.
Yeah, it should be finalized soon and posted. It was just some proofing on it needed to be done before we put it on the website, so it'll be up.
Yeah. Okay, because I think when we register, I want to take a look, of course, of the pricing for that, because you don't mention that. That's okay. But if you can get that on the site, at that point, once I see it, we will register for both.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And Fred, if you wanted to register for the main trip, we can always add the extension afterwards if you'd like.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Yeah. Okay. And
because as Al said, the ships are small and they have a good number of cabins based on the percentage of cabins on the ship, but it's a small ship, so there's not a lot of balcony cabins. Yeah. So if you want a balcony, you would want to grab one quickly.
Okay. You mentioned pre and post. I imagine it's a post trip. It would be more efficient to go from Barcelona to Madrid and then home. Do you think it's going to be a pre and a post option?
Can you go back to the itinerary, David? Are you able to touch that slide that is trip 1? So it's it's post.
It's post. Oh, good. That's what we want.
Go one slide back, please. I'm just helping you move a little faster on it. So November 15th to December 12th. Now move one back to the itinerary. It is post. With the travel club doing that, it would be post. So you're flying to Athens and staying 3 nights. The trip ends on day 28. You would fly to the U.S., but in your instance, you would be going on to Madrid, and Madrid would be 4 days and 3 nights. They do that as a standard.
4 days and 3 nights.
Oh, look,
perfect.
Al, there's the bar that we used to hang out at.
Okay, if you could get that on the site, that'd be great, because we do want to. We're going to add that on.
Absolutely.
And that's being 20. It's both 26 and 27, right?
That's right.
We'll have that. Okay.
Hi, Al. I have a question for you too. This is Patty.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
I'm good. I had a few that I had typed on the side. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that.
Yeah, I'll look at those right now.
Yeah.
So she did ask which ones you'll be escorting in, which that hasn't been decided
My
yet.
favorite escort.
Thank you very much. I can tell you right now. I volunteer, and it's no secret. I volunteer because then I, in retirement, continue to travel to lots of interesting places with interesting people. David, I want to put my hat in the ring for November of 2027 right now, because I really want to do it. I'm not sure I can do December of this year.
27. There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely want to do
that one, so that will likely be a case.
Yeah.
And then
we second that vote.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You also asked about the excursions. I do include tours in the cities for the extended stays on the portion of the land portion. I don't on the cruise, partially because Celestial hasn't finalized their excursions for these. And once I get a larger group, I'm able to negotiate with ground operators to get better deals. So then I can figure out what I might be able to get included for optional tours and what would be extras that you'd be able to sign up for.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked about that is because, you're on a tour every day, just about, and so it can get pretty pricey to have to pay for excursions every day.
Yeah.
I have a couple sisters. We might have 6 of us going together on a trip. I know we could, if it's something wasn't arranged, it's easier for 6 people to book an excursion than to have to do 2 even. You can get a guide or something there. So
that's right.
I mean, that's going to be like interesting to try to figure out, because I think the actual cost of the trip is pretty reasonable, but then you have all of these additional expenses that are going to come into play.
What you do in port,
and one thing to remember too about many of these stops is they aren't. Many of them are not the huge cities that you get with some cruises. Many of these are walkable from the port. Even if you didn't want to do an excursion and you just wanted to walk and see things. So it depends on what you want to do while you're there. We'll have, of course, suggestions on things to do, even if I'm not able to do optional excursions or other things like that.
I will tell you from my seat, I suspect, this is a pure guess on my part, but I suspect the travel club is going to have quite a group on the November 27 sailing. They've just announced this, so that 26 cruise is there, but for November of 27, I suspect that they're going to have quite a group. My experience in escorting for varieties of companies is the coordination of a organized shore excursion. And when you do that, the pricing plummets, because exactly as you've just said, it's really a numbers game to make it more affordable. And my experience has been that many times, and I suspect, is a guess, we're sitting here in August of 26. I suspect for November 27, it will be significant, and you will see a lot of choices that are.
I just wish the date in 2027 was a little earlier, because
Yeah,
it ends on the 20th, which is so close to Christmas, and it's just travel gets more difficult at that
Right.
time.
yeah. Yeah.
So I was kind of leaning towards the 2026 just because it ends earlier, December. But is there information on the post trip for that, or is there not?
It's the same. The Madrid. I wasn't sure, but David has just said it, so I'm repeating it on Fred's question. 4 days and 3 nights in Madrid. So what you do is you come off the ship when everyone else is, or at the end of the trip, I'm sorry, and you're staying one night in, and then you're going on to Madrid. So that's available for both of them. I know that's what they're going to do.
I should have looked on your site. I looked at the Celestial site to look at the cabin categories. And so there was a question that I had when I looked at the cost for like the suites. There's like a junior suite and a grand suite or something, and you get access to a certain dining room.
Yes, the
extra
smoke
if you
and
go
olive,
into a
which is
suite.
fantastic.
It seems like it would be an option that might be of interest to me. But what is included in that price? Is it the junior suite?
The website shows all of the categories. So
on your website.
The Happening Travel Club's website will show you exact comparison by category. So any of the categories that you were looking at, you can see that at the Happening Travel page also.
And the junior suites do count as suites to access the smoke and olive dining area and the special benefits of the suites. A good website that I use that is a fantastic resource for every cruise ship in the world is a website called Cruise Mapper, which I'll type in chat right now, because they literally have deck plans for every ship that exists, and they show you where the different cabins are by category, things like that. Because frequently the cabin category, the only difference is location. So that can help you with your decision.
So when we book the cruise, are we able to book our room right away too?
Because they allot us certain rooms for the group. If you have a specific area you'd like, you can let us know, and we'll work with Celestial and see, that we can try and get you your requests. I know Fred was booked with us for a cruise, and we got a specific cabins for him before. So it's they normally allot us certain cabins, but we can work with them.
Yeah,
that's to
have
Greece.
A view that's obscured,
Yep.
They don't really have obscured balconies on this ship. There weren't.
I read some reviews, and they do.
The only kind of obstruction I can say from my experience from what I saw of the rooms, and I saw several of them, some of them you have the lifeboats below you, so you can't look down to see the water. That's really the only quote unquote obstruction. If I want to look at water, I can do that at a lake. But that some people like that full unobstructed view in every direction, which to me is, as long as I can see out to the view.
While we were discussing that, the question on laundry, I have to say I don't remember. I've been on both of the Celestial ships, and I don't remember about laundry. So
I sent laundry out.
Yeah. Yes.
So we do offer, laundry service.
Yeah, they have service. They don't have self-serve, but they definitely have in-room service.
Yes, at very reasonable price, and also we have where there's a bag, and you can stuff that bag, and it's $35 flat fee.
Okay, that's cool. What about your drink package, Patty? Since we're going to be off the ship a lot, it doesn't seem like it would make a lot of sense. Like unlike a Caribbean cruise when you're sitting by the pool and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can either do pay as you go. We do not have pre-sale drink packages, okay? But what we offer is Celestial Pay. Now, what is Celestial Pay? That's your food and beverage digital card. If you prepay, we do euros on board. We always offer a bonus, okay? A little top off. Now, on board, we do sell drink packages. Okay, so that's if you choose to do so, and I'll pass that information on to David. But imagine you might have a nightcap, maybe a mimosa, maybe a Bloody Mary, but you're going to be having beautiful drinks, on these great destinations. And
Right.
by the way, we have an award-winning program.
Because usually we would have a drink package, but because we're going to be off the ship so much, I wondered if it was even going to be practical to do that. And maybe you would offer we're wine drinkers, so maybe you have wine bottle packages or something like that.
We do.
Have at dinner.
I'm right by the wine right now. We have a wine tasting. We have a beautiful, amazing wines to choose from as well.
And I will say I got the drink package.
Just strictly.
Yeah, I got the drink package when I was on there. And to me, it was very beneficial, not just for the cocktails in the evening or the wine in the evening, but the fig and olive smoothie bar. The smoothies and the espresso drinks and stuff they make there are fantastic. So I frequently use the drink package there in the morning.
Fresh pressed juices as well.
Yes, they were fantastic to start the day. So even if you're not using them all on alcohol, for those benefits, sometimes it's worthwhile. And of course, even with the Celestial Pay, as Patty said, if you purchase a certain amount, they'll give you a bonus amount on top, depending on what you purchase, to save you some money on the drinks. And that way, it's not a drink package. You can buy €100 worth or something like that.
David, can I make a suggestion? Patty just talked about the onboard program that they do.
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion that you ask for that to be added? I'm not as familiar with that as I should be either, and I think everybody would want to read that, of how that is described and how that works for food and beverage, because their program is very unique. I do know that. I've read a little bit about it, but I don't know enough about it as much as I should. So if I don't, I'm sure everybody else is in the same situation.
I'll get those specifics from Patty, and I'll have it added to the website.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And were there other questions, David, that people typed, or any other questions people want to jump in on?
Kathy Newell asked if there's paper requirements in terms of visas. I don't believe so. Normally the cruise line, Celestial, took care of all that when I've used them in the past. You give them their passport when you arrive, and they got the visas we needed.
Turkey has a visa, but unless it's been changed, the ship will handle the visa into Ephesus.
If Gibraltar's in the UK is an e-visa, right?
Yeah, and I suspect, and that's a great question, and I'm kind of embarrassed.
We just had to get one.
For Britain, but I think Gibraltar is exempted from that.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'm not completely sure, but I believe they're exempted. I think the only thing on this trip is Turkish that the ship does.
Yeah, the ship did Turkey, because we did Turkey and Egypt, and the ship took care of both of those for us, which was fantastic. But I'll check with on Gibraltar, because I don't think it's included in the electronic travel authorization for the UK.
Okay.
But I'll double check.
So one more last question then, Al. If you're doing this trip in next year in November, the tours that you would be doing are pre and post, and not on during the while we're there on the ship.
No, depending on the group size, the travel club will have somebody on the ship, depending on the group size. When the escort from the travel club travels with the members on the trip, to be hosted or fully escorted, it's fully escorted at 30 passengers, and that would be on the ship also. So if a sizable group materializes, there will be a happening travel club with escort.
So it would still be an extra charge, but it would be a lesser charge because it would be a larger group.
Oh,
you're talking about
talking
excursions?
Excursion. I
Yes.
thought you were talking about the escort.
No.
Yeah, my experience in the past has been set up on special pricing for the group. So yes, that's what that would.
So if you had a big enough group,
We've
you
worked,
might put
for
together
example,
some other options for, rather than going through Celestial.
or it could be Celestial handles it, but I've done several programs with Celestial where Celestial handled the shore excursion for the group and had special pricing because it was a group. So it was a private bus for the group, and it was special pricing that wasn't the general program that they did on the ship.
Yeah, I'd really be interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, David, on this theme, because here's where it gets tricky. We've gone on your trip with Happening Travel to Antarctica, and it gets a little tricky because you have three options on excursions, right? You could take a cruise excursion, you could do Viator or some private excursion, or we could wait for you to come up with the excursion. And generally we wait, and it's hard. I know you're trying to get it together. So it's tricky for us because if we book with Viator, we could cancel 24 hours before. With the cruise, we can't. So it'd be good if you guys do put together excursions, try to get them out a little earlier so that we can make a decision.
Yeah, and with these cruises, we're working very closely with Celestial. Patty texts me all the time to check if we need anything. And I'm sure, I know that if I was able to get a group together for an excursion, they would be able to help us if you had already booked something with changing that over. Celestial
One thing
is a
David,
fantastic partner.
If I can add one interesting thing about working with Celestial is now this is a new development program that they're doing, but in the Eastern Med for Greece, Celestial is unique in that because of how much strength that they have on the land for shore excursions. You weren't making reservations in advance. And so once you came on the ship, you were making your reservations on the ship and you were fine in doing that.
Yes.
I think in general.
We will have our, sorry, go on.
Good.
I apologize, Al.
Yeah,
Just to clear up that, we're going to have our short excursions coming out quite soon. I think in about less than 10 days, we're going to have them out for the Western Med. And we're able to do that because of our partnerships that we've had being in the Mediterranean, pretty much being the experts in this area. And, we put this together very quickly. So I'm super excited about this itinerary. So,
but
and
by the way,
you could also book them on board.
By the way, one of the things that I always try to help direct members to what's going on in the world and why this might be something you pay attention to. Patty just gives you a clue as to why you're paying attention to this itinerary. This itinerary is so unique because not just them, everyone in the travel industry has faced a catastrophic event of what is going on in the Middle East. So the cruise line had to do this. It is similar to situations of bringing ships from Florida in the spring to Europe on transatlantic. Obviously we see the pricing value that we see on transatlantics both in the spring and in the fall. We don't cry for the cruise line over the pricing value because they're moving the ship to places where they're just doing fantastic in pricing, in the value that they want to distribute. That's just the way it is. In this instance, that's why you pay so close attention to this itinerary, because Celestial and other cruise lines have had to make changes based on the geopolitical events that are going on. And they'll do fine. They'll recover from it and do fine. But in the meantime, all of us get to benefit from it. And that's why we should pay attention to this itinerary, because it's coming along for a very specific reason. They would not have done this without that geopolitical event.
Absolutely. We would still be in Dubai and in Doha, and I'm scheduled to fly out there a week after the war broke out. Right. And by the way, the captain who is manning this vessel, he is the one that got the ship, this particular ship, out of the Middle East. I want you to think about. So you're in safe hands.
Yeah, and
Okay,
Yvonne,
good.
as of now, I
Yeah.
can't even give you an estimate on the cost per excursion because of the way the world is right now. In the 2023 cruise I did,
But
my excursions ranged from $59 to
mhm.
$99 for the different
Yeah,
things I offered.
it depends. Yeah, we
But
have half a
pricing has
day and full
changed a lot.
day. Yeah. But I would say like let's take an average. Maybe they average about 130 if I'm taking the average. They're extremely reasonable. And again, we have half day and full day.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes bundled packages as well. So more
any
savings.
any other questions,
Mhm.
David, that
I
or
don't
that anyone
see
else?
anything. Shubham, thank you for the answer on Gibraltar. Shubham looked it up and
Yeah.
said that there is not a passport or visa needed. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not a visa needed. It's just the
Hey,
passport.
Yeah.
Barbara has asked a question for Patty. If they're planning on
okay.
doing back-to-back celestial cruises but different ships, because they're thinking of
hmm
doing the 1027 to 1114 Greece, Italy, Croatia, and then the 1115
Uh-huh.
28 day. If they get the
Ideally.
celestial pay, would they be able to use it for both, or would it have to be used up on the first ship?
No, if it's how you book it. If you're booking it together as one total, like a 14 night, is that the Adriatic and Idyllic?
No,
I
no,
No,
don't
it's
no,
want
it's
no,
to
two
no.
of our packages,
Okay.
Two
so there would
different
be a couple
ships.
day.
Oh, your package.
Yeah,
Yes, of
because they're
course.
going from
So if
one
it's
ship.
how it's booked,
Yeah,
yes.
because they're going
Okay,
from
you're going from one
the
ship to a
Journey to the
different ship?
Discovery
Oh,
with a
yeah.
couple days in between.
Yeah, it doesn't carry over because you're going to have two different booking numbers. Okay. And a tip with Celestial Pay. If you don't use it, it's gone. We don't refund on the Celestial Pay. Okay. So, but you could always add more on board. So I just want to give
Yeah.
you that tip. Okay.
And
And also, did you enjoy the tour before we sign off? I know we're kind of wrapping things up. So
You walked through our bar. I like to hang out in there. The one with the blue, all the blue in there. That's my hangout
yeah.
bar.
it works good.
So look how quickly I went through the ship. I was out by the pool, all the way up above by Ray's, and went down and up all through the nightclub and the several bars and lounges and the
You think?
amphitheater, the gym, the spa,
Yeah.
very
I want
quickly.
them. It's red. That's
Twice.
telling
I
you.
think I
It's
went around
perfect.
twice.
One
Bring
of
that
one of the
back.
things I would point out to the question of the Greek cruise,
Yes.
first off, you're talking about somebody that might travel 3 or 4 weeks, combining the two itineraries together, or longer even. I not too long ago did a celestial cruise and did exactly that. I went and I did the Greek Isles from Livonia, that pier, which is east of Piraeus, and was
Yeah.
on one celestial ship, and then came off
Mm-hmm.
and stayed in Athens, and then boarded the that was on Discovery in the
The
Greece,
journey.
and
Yeah.
and then right on the journey, and then boarded in Piraeus, the other ship. That is very
Mhm.
easily done in Greece.
Yes.
So doing both ships is an easy proposition to do.
And Brian and Sally, all of our
Mhm.
terms and conditions are on the trip page when it comes to deposits and what's refundable on cancellation of the full amount. But
Yes.
I would not ever leave the country without travel insurance to protect you in case something happens and you have to cancel. And
Never.
even beyond
Yeah.
the cancellation, if you trip and fall or something, your health insurance generally isn't going to cover anything overseas. So always,
Mhm.
you always want to get travel insurance, whether it's through the company I use, which is Arch Rome Right, or through someone
Yes.
else, Alliance, or one of those.
Mhm.
I would not
Mhm.
book or try to travel internationally without insurance.
100%. And I know, David, you can help everybody navigate through that because you want an insurance that's going to cover the beginning of your vacation, starting with flights and everything, not just when you set foot on the vessel. I want you to
Yeah,
think
that's
about
right.
that.
That's right.
Mhm.
David, anything else that I can help you with, or we all set?
Yes, the price includes gratuities.
Yeah.
Good.
For the cruise.
All right. Anything else for anybody?
Gonna sign up today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Appreciated
Thank you
it.
for joining
Thank
us. I know it's
Thank
after
you.
midnight for you
Hey.
now, but
Oh,
Enjoy your enjoy your
love
cruise.
this. I love this. I'm so energized just coming off of this call. So I hope everybody enjoyed the virtual tour, right? Live. And I work closely with David and Al. So any questions, I know David and Al could answer, and or come to me as well through David and Al. And I look forward to seeing you on our ships this winter.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Well